What's up? What's up?
Yo, what up, man? What up? What up?
So we're doing Monyay,
Yeah. What was the topic again? We already like.
Philippines versus world
Oh yeah.
standards.
That's it. That's it. That's it. That's a good one. So we already contracted two of our good buddies, right? Patrick and
Right.
who's the other one? Who's we're supposed to join in? Patrick
I know
and
Patrick. I don't
no,
know
there's another dude.
who
There
the
are
other
two of
guy
them.
is. CJ. CJ.
Was it CJ? Okay,
No, no,
maybe
no.
C or Joe Boy. I think Joe Boy. Joe Boy. Joe Boy.
I don't know.
Was
It
it
could
not
be.
Joe Boy? Because Joe Boy was on board, and I was like, they know because they're both overseas, and the only one who's based here is me,
Mm, right.
if I
It
remember
could be.
right. But yeah, Patrick, what's up? So we're glad you're on. At least we have somebody to participate and tune in. So the Philippines versus the world standards. Now we're talking about standards. Can you explain, Ice, in detail what exactly it is that we are about to tackle?
The things that we do in the Philippines and the world standards. Not necessarily that we have a bad standard. In other aspects, we have a better, well, not really better, but a different standard, but it works for us. And you know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like we were talking about it. What was that about? Okay, Joe Boy, Mayang Gabi. All right. Good evening. We were
What's up,
talking
Joe
about it
Boy?
last time. We were talking about it last time. Like for example, in Japan, uh,
Like education. Like
education, right? All right.
in
Okay. Here
Japan,
we
they
go.
prepare people for work, and then here it's like you have to be a college graduate to be even considered
Right.
a
Right.
success, right? Or have a chance at
So
success.
yeah,
That's Philippine
that's one
standard.
example.
And
That's one
also like
example.
family, like marriage. You have to have kids. If you don't have kids, you're not. You know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
if you're not,
Right.
just
Right.
stuff like that. If you don't have kids, you're not a complete
Like for
family. You
example,
can't be happily married.
you cannot register your vehicle if you don't go through Shaken. Shaken is like having your car actually checked. Like it has to be checked. I don't think America has it. Like only in Japan you have to go to the particular dealer
Shop. Okay.
or yeah, or garage. I don't know, whoever is accredited to do a
Mm-hmm.
shaken,
Mm-hmm.
which is to check your, like the important stuff, like the brakes, the brake pads,
Mm-hmm.
the lights, all
The
of these
integrity,
things.
the integrity, and the
Yeah,
roadworthiness of the car, right?
right. Even your tires. If your tires are not good enough for, like for renewal, they're not going to renew you, right? So it's not
That's,
like, I mean,
that's well, they
with
should.
us,
They
it's
should not.
just you go to um a particular,
You get your
what's
emission.
that check?
It's all about
Emission
emission.
test.
It's all about
All right.
emission.
It's
As
just
long as
emission
you
test,
pass the
right?
emission, you're good. That's basically
That's
all they
it.
care about. Even if your car
Right.
has
You
no
go
wheels
to an
and it's
accredited
falling
emission
apart.
testing center, and that's it. But here in Japan, it's Shaken. It's not just the emission, even your tires. So that's why when
Everything.
I go in for a Shaken, they check the tires and like, oh, these tires are no good anymore. You have to buy new tires. I mean,
And it
there's
just
not
so
good enough.
happens, sir, that we have the tires exactly your size.
No, because I go to my
Hmm.
I
No, I'm
go to
kidding. I'm
my
kidding.
dealer. I go to my mechanic. So
So you
he's
don't
an
have to get it
accredited
from
guy.
them. You don't have to get it from them,
No, I get it
right?
from him, but it's cheaper because he's not a car shop. Like for
No,
example,
no, no. But
Autobats.
what I mean, the Shaken guy doesn't necessarily sell the tires. Like he's the one who
No, they
checks it,
don't.
but
No,
you're not obligated to buy from them, right? So it's not like a scam or a
no.
racket
When you go
where
to when okay, Shaken is like, it's a government thing, right?
who
So
oversees
once
things. They
you
oversee
so
stuff like.
right, so when you get there, the government would check it. Like, all right, fine. So the places that we go to, these are accredited people or accredited shops or whatever you call them, right? These are
Mm-hmm.
accredited places where you can have it checked. So when they bring it in for a shaken, then no problem, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because
Mm-hmm.
everything's checked and everything's taken care of. So you can do it on your own, but it's so much of a hassle because you have to
Yeah,
check. Like, it's, I mean, if you're not a mechanic, I mean, what do you know, right? Like,
exactly.
are my brake pads still good? How about not just the brake pads, but the spark plugs, those things, right?
Yeah,
Your timing chain,
that's right.
your timing belt and shit like that. So
Yeah,
it's just so that's why there are
your
not a
wipers.
lot of cases, not a lot of cases where there are car breakdowns on the road. It doesn't happen
Yes,
here. It's so rare that you have those cases because
because the
they're being
cars are always
routinely
checked
checked
up.
every two
And
years. Every
same
two
thing in the
years.
states. They have the same thing in the states. In fact, in the states, it's like if the older your car is, the higher your insurance, because it's most likely
Now,
that that car is going to encounter trouble.
yeah, they
So
have that,
it's
but it's not even as
it's crazy as
like
there.
as strict as Japan. Because I have a lot of American friends who'd be like, "No, there's not. It's not like this in America. Like you can, like
And
your car is like almost breaking down, but you can still,
you can
like you
still
can
run.
still
Yeah,
drive it.
you
You can
can
still,
still. It's
yeah.
still they
It
still like
doesn't happen here. It
especially
doesn't
in
happen
LA,
here.
dude. Especially in LA, like the Mexicans there, they drive the crappiest cars, and you're wondering what the heck, how is that allowed to be on the road? But here's the thing, too. Here's what's crazy. Japan states all very crazy about the roadworthiness of a car before the registration is renewed. And when you think about it, the roads there, the driving conditions there, it's so much better than it is here or in other third world countries. So they're stricter about the roadworthiness of the car, and yet the cars are less likely to be damaged or to have issues because the roads are paved. It's not like I said. For example, in Japan, they will probably only check like the how much the tire has worn off. Here, I'm telling you, it's like it's not even that. It's not even like the put part. It's like the tires are literally just put on one side, or it's got like rock damage marks or whatever it is, and it's still allowed. Nobody ever checks it. Nobody is ever required to have a tip top condition vehicle. I mean, just look at the multicabs, right? I mean, these are surplus vehicles. These are have tiny parts. The brakes probably would fail if it was like used the way it's being used as public utility vehicles. It's not meant to carry a buttload of people, and it's certainly not meant to be running around, the city for like the whole day, for like the whole year as a public utility vehicle. It's a surplus vehicle from Japan. I mean, they probably just use that to ferry, people from the gate of a village to their respective houses, or just to ferry people nearby, and not meant to carry passengers and stuff. But here, it's it's approved as a public utility vehicle. And I have friends who own multicabs, and I have friends who drive their units, and I know exactly how often the brakes wear down, or how often they have to get that repaired. And it's almost every day they're freaking fixing the thing up, because like I said, it's not meant to be subjected to the use that it's been used for here. So I don't really know what's up with that. Is it allowed because like Filipinos need to make a living, and that's one of the options that people have? Is it allowed because they're thinking, well, these things are not going to be going fast anyways, it's just going to be within the city? Is it allowed? I mean, you have to kind of wonder, right? Like I said, the Philippine standard versus the world, that's a lower standard. But I know we also have higher standards in certain things, like I said, education, the grades and stuff. But like that part, definitely a much lower standard, right? As compared
Right.
to,
But I mean, okay.
can
Well,
we afford to have a higher standard, or we can't as a country? I don't think we can though,
and
right?
I think the focus of this conversation as well is not just like, okay. I mean, we cited an example which is related to cars and like checks and whatnot, but we were also talking about like in terms of talents, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
how is the Philippine standard in terms of like like playing basketball or something, right?
Yeah.
Or I mean
How
those
does
sort
Guns
of
N'
things.
Roses compare to the bands at Horizon? How does Regine Velasquez compare to Britney
Right,
Spears?
right.
Right?
Or
Yeah.
our okay, our not really culture, but it's like how we do things as a people,
Mm-hmm.
you know. I mean, like for example, um like parties, like it's different. When you say parties, like this my wife said this one time. Like every time I go to a Filipino party, like back then, if you go to a party, it's always like like you're so full. Like
Yeah.
you don't even eat before the party because you're there's just going to be a lot of food in a party, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And you're planning to eat a lot or something. But
Yeah.
here, you meet certain people, and all right, let's have a party, and it's a different party, and it's all like finger stuff, like finger food, right? Like all
Yeah.
snacks and shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
And your party is like, this is not a party. A party is a lechon, spaghetti, all of
Yeah.
these things,
Yeah,
all the food in the world.
different
That's
definition,
our
dude.
standard,
Different definition.
all
You
right?
know what it is?
But it's
Because
a
like for
standard. That's
yeah,
a,
I
like
know
you
it is.
can't
It
call it a,
is.
all right.
It
So
is.
on
It's an
that area,
expectation.
I would have to say like, all right, that party is a better party than just going to like eating all these chips. If I want to eat chips, I'll stay at home. I'll buy a lot
Yeah,
of
but here's
chips.
the thing. Here's the thing. Like for example, in the states, when they have a gathering or invite people over, you're not there for the food. You're there to talk to each other, to mingle with the crowd, to promote camaraderie, to it's people like that. Like they
I mean,
sit
no,
down, they have a conversation.
not for Filipinos.
In
It's
the
not.
Philippines, you don't even talk to your guests. You have like a bunch of
No,
guys
because you
there who
eat
walked
first.
in, and
No,
you're like,
you
"Who the
go
heck?"
in and you eat. That's
I
what a
ex-
party is for
no,
us.
because people here don't. That's what a party is here. The party here is it's somewhat like it's a bit like showing off. To be honest, the way I see it, it's a bit like showing off. Like you hear these like it's like the traditional party would be like, the elders would be like, "Oh, dapat may lechon, dapat may ano, pakainin sila ganyan." It's a bit like letting the people know that hey, we can afford to feed the barangay, we can afford to feed the town. The peasants, let them in, let them eat. It has nothing to do with talking to each other. It has nothing to do with promoting a relationship with each other. It's nothing to do with nothing like that. It's just about preparing food, letting people eat it, showing off your house, showing off that you can afford to have lechon and all this stuff, and that's it. Like, and then people just wash the dishes. Like, I'm baffled. I'm like, I go to a party and I'm like, I don't know anyone. I didn't get to meet anybody. I didn't make a new friend. I just walked in there. I ate. I was just introduced and I ate. The host was just like, "Okay, kain kayo dyan," and that's it. Like it's that's the concept that we have of a party. In other countries, their concept of that is just it's basically the people. You're the you're the star of the party, not the lechon. You're not a restaurant. It's not a restaurant, right? You're that's it's supposed to be just a side attraction. It's just supposed to be for people to have something to it's supposed to be just finger food, to be honest. Even cocktails when you go there, that's it. Because people are meant to talk to each other. Same with the bars here. The standard of the bars here is that people go there and like if you go to a bar and they're like it's filled with people and then you tell your friend, hey, why don't you go talk to that girl over there? He would be like, what? It's like it's a crazy idea to actually walk up to a girl at a bar when in reality that supposedly is kind of the purpose of it. I mean,
Yeah, but
it's not
that's not a
that.
Philippine problem. That's like
I know this.
everywhere.
I know that's what I'm saying. It's like no. I think in the states they do that. Like if you go to a bar, you walk up to people. That's what I'm saying. Like for people who've been to Boracay and who've had the guts to walk up to the foreigners there, I'm telling you, you are not going to be turned down. You can walk up to them. Hey, where are you guys from? Hey, you can make friends there. Now, why is it so? Because like in Boracay, it's kind of like an
Yeah,
open
because
market.
everybody's a stranger over there. That's the whole point. But if you're like in your hometown, that explains it. Because we're like, like we almost know everybody in town, and
And
it's
yet we
like,
don't and yet we don't talk to each other, and yet we're afraid to approach each
yeah,
other.
because we're like, ugh. But then if you see a foreigner, why is it that if it's a foreigner, like everybody just swarms
Okay,
around
see,
these foreigners and they start
exactly.
talking?
Exactly. Now, so it's not a problem within us. Like it's not an issue with us because we don't think that way. So we can walk up to but the problem is with most of the folks, right? So what is it? Why can a Filipino, have the courage or the guts to walk up to a foreigner if given different situation in a different place? But let's say if it's here, we can't do that to our I mean, what's creepy about it? Like you walk up to somebody in a bar and you talk. They can just always say, "Hey, I'm married. Hey, I'm whatever. I have limits with what I can talk with you about." That's fine, but it's different, So I don't know. I mean, like I guess I understand. Like for example, if my wifey says, "Oh, we're gonna go on a girls' night out," and they go to a bar, and then I find out that a group of guys approaches their table, and starts offering them drinks and stuff, then maybe yeah, I would be kind of like, okay, hold on, guys are hitting on them because I'm not used to it. The society here in general has not made us accustomed to that fact that a woman can actually just turn a guy down and say he's married. She's married. Like the husband would have to freak out and beat up the guy because you approached the table with my girl. So now we ourselves are conditioned to think that hey, that's an aggressive move. But if we were in another country and we were in another bar and your girl went out and she says, "Oh, I was approached by a bunch of guys, they were drunk and whatever, whatever." you'd probably be like, yeah, so what, you tell him to fuck off? Yeah, I did. That's it. End of conversation. No big deal. Because society there has conditioned your mind that a woman can actually speak her mind and make a decision for herself, and you don't always have to go beat up everybody who approaches your girl, because she can talk to other guys and she can make a decision for herself if the guy's being creepy or what. So I think a lot of it has to do with the conditioning that the Filipinos are subjected to. So even if you're from Japan and you've been there for many years, you come back here, all of a sudden you go into your Filipino
Well, I would have
standard mode,
to. All right. Okay.
right?
I think. Well, you were saying, but I think Filipinas are one of the most empowered women in the world compared to, you know what I'm saying? Like Filipinas, like they turn down a lot of folks all the time. Like
Well,
I would have to say
turning people down doesn't mean empowered. I mean, turning people down could mean close-minded. That could mean, judgmental, or it doesn't. It has nothing to do with being empowered.
no.
In
Well, you
fact,
can say no. That's the whole thing. That's
I know
you
that's what
can
I'm
say
saying.
no. Like
That's what I'm
you can say like no, I don't want to talk to you. It's fine. Then that's that. I mean,
exactly.
they do that, and the I mean, no matter where you are, I don't think you can like force them to talk to you. You know what I'm saying? Because I
Yeah, I
mean,
get it. I get it.
that's the thing. So
But that wasn't my point. My point is like people don't even bother to do it. Like you don't even get to the exchange, because I
no,
remember
no, because guys don't have the guts to do it. It's not that they don't want they want to, but they just can't. That's
because
the whole.
condition
I think that's the whole
a-
point.
and that's why the guys don't have the guts, because conditionally, I mean, it has a role in it. Conditionally, our society has dictated that that's not the thing to
I think
do, that you're not supposed to do that, or you could get in trouble because she might have there's a lot of stuff that's going on. I mean, it's a lot of things that go in your mind. When I first arrived here, it was like what, early 90s, and my friends took me to Acropolis. Dude, I was approaching every girl on the dance floor, talking to them. I wasn't touching them. I wasn't being flirty or anything. I was just like, hey, what's up?
right, and
Oh,
then that's fine.
and I was, and now looking back, I would never do that again. Knowing how insecure Filipinos are, knowing how I could have gotten beat up at that time, knowing how, the
No, I don't
boyfriend could
think
have
so.
been
I don't think
there.
you get. I
Dude,
don't
come
think you're gonna
on,
get beat up.
dude,
I don't
dude,
think you're gonna get beat up.
I totally
The
changed
only
my game,
reason why
dude.
you're gonna get beat, you know what? If somebody says no to you, you're not gonna get beat up. The only reason why you're gonna get beat up if there's somebody there who's like having a fight with a boyfriend and eventually said
Exactly,
yes.
that too. I guess,
Right?
yeah,
See,
that
that's
could
the
happen.
thing.
No,
So
no, no,
that could
but
have created a
I think
problem, but it's
no.
not because somebody said like no or something, but intentionally the girl had. I mean, like there must be already a sublying issue,
Mhm.
So if you approach somebody, and it's the same
It's
case,
okay.
like
So basically,
like
you're saying there's no difference. Basically, what
I
you're
don't
saying
think
is
there's
there's no
different in
difference.
terms of that,
There's no
because I've
difference
been
between the dating
here.
clubbing scene in the
No,
Philippines
I
and
don't think so.
in the
Hence
U.S.
the pickup artist, whatever, like that book. I mean, those who wrote it are Americans, and that's a problem for them too. Like there are people who are like you, Al Ryan, who didn't need anything, but you just have the guts.
No, but that has nothing to
You're
do with it.
you're born with it. You're
That has
born with
nothing
it.
to do with it. My point is, it's basically just like it's basically our definition of certain things. Like you said, you brought it up. Going to a party in the States, in Japan, wherever you go to a party, you talk to people, you have chips, right? If you brought a traditional, like if a Filipino expecting a traditional Filipino type party attends that, he would say that sucked. That sucked, right? Even if, let's say, he ends up meeting five people, improves his chances at a relationship or career because of those relationships he's formed, he would probably say it sucked because he was basing it on the food. And in other countries, that's not the point of a party. You would say the party sucked because the people were boring. You would say the party sucked because there was nothing there to excite you. They would never say the party sucked because of the chips. I mean, see, that's the
Because we
thing. That's a
always have people around us. That's what I noticed. See,
what?
that's the thing between with us and people who live, especially in developed countries. Like you really need to go out there and meet people.
Yes, you do.
That
Yes,
you
that's true.
that you
Here
get
you
along
don't.
with.
You're right.
No,
Here you
you
don't.
don't. You
You
already
don't.
have
You
them. You
come.
already
You
have the
come to. You're right.
classic.
Okay. Okay.
Like,
Good
all right,
point. Good
okay,
point.
dude,
That's
we
a good
are
point.
going to a party tonight.
Good point.
We don't need to meet new people. We just need to
That's
eat food
enlightening.
and get out of there.
That's enlightening.
Right?
Not, that's
Because you
enlightening.
already have it.
Here's another take on it. Here's another take on it. It could be that because, like, here, it's such a big deal for you to throw a party and make sure there are a lot of food. Because here in the Philippines, we can't get away from the fact that we're a third world country, or the majority of the people are poor. Food is a premium. Food is a luxury item, especially good food. Whereas in the US,
It is.
you can show off and brag to people that you have good food. They can
I
all
mean, if
afford
you
that
go to
shit.
a party
You know?
and you can eat dinner and breakfast at the same time, you would love it because
I
you already
know.
have
That's what I
you
mean.
already saved like two
Plus my
for
take
two
home.
meals.
Plus my take home
Plus my take
for
home.
about
I mean, what's not to like?
and then
What's not
and
to
then
love
you
about that,
and then
right?
on your way home nag-complain ka pa. Ah, paratang lechon.
Sa muga, pa ko kakon dessert, bisita. Uy, wa ka ni dessert.
Katong buko pandan ba
Alexia.
naka ano naka I mean, see that's a Filipino side, but that's a good point that you brought up. That enlightened me a little bit because I wasn't thinking about that. The fact that you're saying it's not a big deal to meet people at parties and gatherings because in the Philippines we already have a buttload of friends. You're right because that's exactly why people in the states when they go to bars, that's kind of like their point is to meet new people. It's not necessarily
Exactly.
to
All right.
marry somebody, but
True.
that's a good point. You
Okay,
brought it up.
this is what happened 2 Saturdays ago. We went to Nagoya, right? So we
Mm-hmm,
went to a it wasn't really fancy, but it was it was a nice restaurant. It was just a burger joint. It was pretty nice,
mm-hmm,
and well, not really that pricey. I would say middle range, right? So we went
mm-hmm.
there and met up with some friends. Somebody was celebrating a birthday, and we were there. We were just chatting, enjoying the food, and there was this guy who just came
Mm-hmm.
and sat at the bar. Well, it was like I mean, it's a restaurant, but there was like a bar area,
Mm-hmm.
and he started chatting with like I don't know if he was the manager, but he seemed like he was the manager. So he was there talking to the guy. He was a foreigner. I think the
Okay.
guy was Canadian, but they were both white.
Okay. Hi, Snow. Hi. Dude, did your internet just freeze right when Snow walked in? That's freaking trippy. Okay, hold on. Is it me? Am I frozen too, or is it just ice? Joe Boy, Gab, Patrick, Luis, John Starks is on board as well. Ice just froze, man. When Snow walked in, that kid's got powers. Holy cow. Snow's got superpowers. But anyways, Ice will be back in a bit. That's it's or maybe he's just pretending so that Snow won't bother. Ice has become ice, turned to ice. Maybe he's doing that so that Snow won't bother him. Like maybe Snow is about to ask for an increase in allowance for the first time. Yeah, see, Japan's internet is overrated. Bahala na 25 Mbps, right? At least hey, if it gets screwed up, it's justifiable, right? It's freaking how much am I paying a month, right? But if it's Japan where it's like 1,000 MB speed and then it freezes, that's not justifiable, right? See, that's the Philippine standard. The Philippine standard is it may not be premium, but it's cheap. The other worldly standards are best freaking service money can buy. Then you like avail of the internet service, 1,000 gig, whatever thing, speed. All of a sudden, your kid walks in and you're like, I mean, But anyways, I'm playing with Ice. I mean, he's gonna be back. Interesting topic we have. Well, Ice is probably trying to connect or whatever. We're talking about the Philippine standard versus the world standard. Now, there's no right or wrong here. There's no better or worse. Obviously, I mean, even if you say, between black and white, our standards are worse, or the U.S. standards are worse, or the world standards are worse, it still doesn't make a difference because it's your standards and it's what you're accustomed to, right? It's still what you're accustomed to. Like at the end of the day, I'm telling you, I know I'm Filipino because I've eaten caviar, I've eaten, all these fancy, you know, food that money can buy. What have I had? I've had like lengua and all that stuff, and like French food and all that stuff. And at the end of the day, you know what? There's nothing more comforting than like corned beef and rice, or like going to a karinderya and having rice, tortang talong, and giniling. I mean, I know I'm Filipino, but people would probably say, hey, caviar's better than that, salmon's better than that, or whatever is better than that. But for us as Filipinos, that's the standard. That's the standard that's being met in terms of our standards, in terms of what food is good for us. I mean, I know people who probably work at 5-star Michelin rated restaurants and then they come to the Philippines and the first thing they eat would be like bulad, because they miss it so much. And if you even allowed your foreigner friends to have a whiff of bulad while you're cooking it, they would faint. They'd literally say that's the smell of roadkill. You know, but like I said, here it's heaven. Like my wife's crazy for bulad. I'm not really a bulad guy, but my wife, that's she responds to bulad the way she doesn't respond to any other dish. Like I could bring her to TGI Fridays, I could feed her like the finest Japanese cuisine, and she still wouldn't be as excited, as if bulad was there. But then again, here's the catch: the problem with bulad is if it's every day, then it's bulad is only good if you miss it. It means you've been living well, right? So the people who keep saying I miss bulad, I love bulad, those are people who don't eat bulad. But the people who are eating bulad regularly, I don't think I don't think they would pick bulad over like filet mignon or something. Pinoy has the bahalag pobre basta hilas mentality. Yeah, of course. I mean, because the hilas thing is more important than our actual standard of living, or our actual status in society. The hilas part is more important. I mean, think about it, right? You go to school. I mean, it doesn't matter where you live. It doesn't matter if your parents, have well-paying jobs. It doesn't even matter if you have a cent to your name. But if everybody's wearing Doc Martens, you got to wear the Doc Martens, right? Nobody goes to school and brags about, you know, their achievements and stuff. They go there and brag about their new shirt. They go there and brag about their new shoes. And that's even at work. Even at work, like people, we never talk about the realistic stuff that we should be talking about as adults, right? Like people should be talking about when you're in the office. Should be talking about your savings. Should be talking about your investments. Should be talking about your insurance if you have any. Should be talking about just preparation. You're adults, but no, what are people talking about? Offices here. Oh, do you have the new iPhone? Do you have the new you know do you guys have the 4K 8K TV now? Oh, if once I get that loan, I'm gonna buy myself a Air Jordan 36, like Iceman, whatever. I mean, I most of my friends, I'm just as guilty. Like whenever because when you work for a company, you have loan opportunities, SSS, Pag-ibig, all that stuff. Nobody, nobody that I've worked with has ever spent the money that they got from a loan for anything substantial or essential. Like nobody would ever say, "Oh, I finally got my loan. My loan was approved. I'm gonna go pay my insurance. Oh, again, my loan was approved. I'm gonna go invest it, in a small business. Or I got my loan approved. I'm gonna go pay all my debts." No Filipino ever does that. Once you get your loan approved, you're going to the mall, you're eating at Shakey's, and you're drinking at a bar, and you're ordering stuff at Lazada and all that stuff. And because that's just how we are. As balag pobre, basta hilas. Actually, I also have another version of that. Maong pobre kay hilas, right? So that's another way of looking at it. Maong na pobre kay hilas. But it's okay. Like I said, in the Philippines, we can fly by with that mentality. Unfortunately, you maintain with that mentality when you go to another country where they don't tolerate that shit and nobody cares what brand shoes you wear, or you know it's not gonna you're gonna suffer. I mean, trust me, I have relatives in the US who have been there for decades and still practice the Philippine way of everyday thing, and they have not upgraded their lives, but they're fine because, like I said, their standards are Philippines, they're just in the US. Ice, let me ask you, are your standards, being in Japan, are your standards now Japan standard or still Philippines? Because I think there are Filipinos there who are probably still Philippine standard, like their way
No,
of
here's the thing.
living.
Here's the thing. Like I told you, when I moved here, I was the observant type, and since I'm living here, I would have to. I mean, me personally, I would love. No, no, not love, but I'm. I just want my life here to be smooth. You know,
Okay.
so I have to adapt to whatever their culture is or
Mm-hmm.
whatever their practices are. So I
Mm-hmm.
have to adapt to that and have to blend in
Mm-hmm.
for me to have uh, a smooth life, especially that I have a kid now. I have to do it the way they do it, right?
Yes.
Because that would be confusing for my kid
Yeah.
if I stick with our culture. So
Yeah.
I mean, But whenever I go back to the Philippines, I'm just like back to being like me,
Exactly.
and I don't have
Exactly.
an issue with that
I
because
believe that. I believe
because
that.
I always look at the Philippines as all right. So there are like lots of stuff there that I really don't agree with, and there's just a lot of things that I would love to be changed. But there are also things that I mean, it's only in the Philippines, and it's a nice feeling. Like for example, like that particular situation that we talked about. Like we don't usually go to parties because we want to meet new people, but it's because we
We want
don't
to
need
eat.
new people.
We
We
want to
we,
eat.
we already have the people that we need
We
in
want to
our
eat good
lives,
food. We want to eat
and
good food.
we go with these
That's what we
people
don't
to
have.
parties. It's not
Yeah.
that we go to a party without these people. We never go to a party without these people, right? They're
Yeah.
always a
Yeah.
plus one or a plus two. That's why
Yes.
there's like lots of gate crashers, and
Yes.
it's in our culture. You don't care. Like if you are invited and you bring some people along, I don't care. Like I don't like even if
Yeah.
I'm not really close to them. If you bring them along, hey, come on, get in. Like
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
get
Yeah.
some food.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind that. I'd be happy to have them as well, even
Yeah.
if I'm
Yeah.
not really friends with them. But here you can't do that. You can't just
Yes.
bring people along.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, but in the Philippines, no, we don't go to parties to meet the people. We bring
Eh,
our friends.
Dude, I'm telling you, you know what? There's nothing like a probinsya party because my wife's family, originally from Digos. My wife's obviously a city girl already, raised here, Davao, born and raised here. But we go from time to time. We visit her family, like when her grandparents. She still has a grandmother alive, but we visit them there, and they always have like festas, or they always just have gatherings, or whenever the family from Davao visits the elders there. This is in Digos, in a not technically Digos city, but like a province of Digos. I'm telling you, man. Literally, I've never seen so much food, and it's like you said, everybody walks in. Like some guy probably riding a carabao, like hops off and just starts eating, and they always prepare balde balde of food, and they always have like this
Right.
assigned cocinero to do it. And I'm like, what's going on? Like, why is such a big deal? Why is everybody being fed? Like, because it's a mortal sin to run out of food if you have a party in a
Yes.
probinsya,
Yes. It's the same
especially in the
with my wife.
province.
It's the same with
It's
my
the
wife.
it's a mortal
That's what she
sin.
told me.
It
Like
should
they would
never
have
happen.
people all day, especially during fiestas.
All day,
They would
keep
have
coming in.
people all
Yeah,
day,
all
right?
day. That's how my wifey's grandmother
Like the
is. She's
people
like,
start
"Paunin na
start
sila,
cooking
no?"
like early in the morning.
Like, yes,
It's
early in the
like
morning.
it's an all
I'm
day
like,
thing.
I thought it was just gonna be us. I thought it was just gonna be a family thing. I'm like, it's like, because I think they're known already too in their province as
Right?
like
So
they're. But
it's one of those
anyways,
things. It's one of
yeah,
those
it's
things. Like I said, I went to this restaurant and there was this guy who sat at the bar and started talking with the manager. And I think my wife overheard the guy saying like, "Oh, I just wanted to get out of the house and can I sit here? Can I chat with you?" And the manager's like, "Yeah, yeah, sure. Like, yeah, I have, yeah, you could just sit here and like like." We can just like talk like yeah I want to talk to somebody too, so it's like they go to bars to talk to people.
yes,
We don't because
yes.
we when we go to
That's
bars we
that's
are
what the
with our
bartender does.
people,
That's what the
right?
bartender does.
So, like, if
That-
you're sad, you go to to the bar, you sit, and you talk to the bartender. But here, we don't need a bartender. We're already with our friends. We
yeah,
go somewhere,
we're
we
we're
drink,
actually we're
we
actually
have them.
we're talked out. Like if you took a taxi, you've already had the conversation with the taxi driver. You're already talking about
Exactly,
politics and Pacquiao
exactly.
and
So it's
life. You're done.
yeah.
Like I'm
So
talked
that's why,
out.
like, me and my wife are always talking about this. That's
You're
why we
right.
don't
Good
have
point. Good point.
not a lot of cases where people have mental issues because, like, we have people to talk to. We
We've
don't need a psych.
exhausted it. We've
Yeah,
exhausted.
we are already talked out. Like we can talk to
Okay.
anybody.
Okay.
Like
Hold
you
on.
can
Let me
talk to
ask
the
you.
sales lady, you can talk to the cashier, you can talk
Let,
to the waiters, you can talk
let
to
me ask you
anybody,
this.
and it's fine.
Because you, and I know this to be true, when you say when you come home to the Philippines, it's like as if you never left. Like you can switch it on and just be the regular Alritz ice picoy whatever when you're here. You don't like walk around like hey, I'm a homeowner or whatever. I'm a Japanese and whatever guy. Like you surely have not toned down. I mean, you still talk like crazy. You still have your sense of humor. You still fashionable as a Filipino can be. But my question is, has it become easier for you to do that because it's Japan? Like Japan doesn't speak English. Japan doesn't really have a culture that you can just embrace and own up to yourself. And not like being in the US, not like being in the UK where we will embrace that easily because it's something that we're accustomed to being here in the Philippines. Our TV shows are American, our fashion is all Western influence. So when you go to the States, and they come back here. I mean, imagine if you went to the States, like let's say you stayed in LA or New York or whatever, and you were there for as long as you've been in Japan, 14 years. Like I only lived in the States for 7 years, dude, and I've acquired so much that even now up to
No,
this day.
it would
But
probably
you,
different
I
because
think
when you
you would
left,
be
you were
very
young.
American. I think you.
No, 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 no,
Okay,
no. It could be
really?
because you left at a young
Yeah,
age
but I don't.
and you got
No,
molded there. I
no, no,
left
no.
around what 20 something, like 28
So
going
if you went to the
29.
States at that age, you think you wouldn't
No,
be
probably not. Probably
really?
not. Because my foundation has been set in the Philippines. I've been molded there. So I might see the advantages and the disadvantages, and I would have to like, and I'm the realist type of guy, right? So I'm like, yeah, we can act like this because we're in the States, but if you're in the Philippines, it's
What about
like
your
you have to
brother?
put yourself.
What about your bro in
No,
Canada? Has he? I mean, have you noticed a
no,
significant
like, dude, he
change?
hangs out with a lot of Filipinos, so he's still,
Okay, all right. But
he's,
knowing
as
you,
much as Filipino as you are.
knowing you, I don't know if knowing you, I don't know if you'd be hanging around the Filipino community generally. And if you were in
Well,
the
I
U.S.
avoid Filipinos like a plague. You know
I
that,
know,
right?
I know, I know. I mean, like I
So
said, that's what I'm
no
saying.
matter where I
So
am, I would
you would
probably do the
definitely,
same thing. I would
you
probably
definitely
do the same thing, but it wouldn't mean that I'm hating on the Philippines. It's more of like I'm already here. What will I do with, you know what I'm saying? I'm like,
yeah. You want to
I'm here.
expand. You want to
I want
expand
to. I'm
your.
like, yeah, but then it's a sad life too, because like I said, their culture is very different. You can't meet, like, for example, it's our culture. It's in our culture that we're talking.
Yeah.
Somebody's passing by, right?
Hmm.
And it happens that that person is a friend of yours,
Hmm.
and you're like, hey man, I'm like, and you start talking, and you're with me, and you'd be like,
Hmm.
yeah, this is my friend, this is Iceman, blah blah, and this is he's from whatever, and Iceman's from whatever, and like, so we are having a conversation, the three of us, and
Yeah.
that's a normal thing.
Yeah.
And because of that situation, because of that particular encounter, that person has a big chance of becoming also a friend of mine, right? Because I mean, we
Yes.
already
Yes.
talk, and if I see him
Yes.
somewhere else, I'm like, hey, yeah, you're Rod's friend. I'm like, so the relationship would blossom from there. But they don't
Hmm.
do that here. Japanese people talk, and then they have a friend that comes along. They
He
would not
doesn't.
introduce that
Yeah.
friend to another friend because they say that's not the way they do it. Like, your wife's friends are not your friends. They don't introduce their wife's friends to their friends. Like, that's not how it is. That's why they don't have that issue where with us it's like, I mean, there's like pros and cons. So the pros would be not much drama because like nobody will
Yeah.
okay,
Nobody
our
would. Yeah.
wives
There would
are
be. Walang
family.
walang inggitan. Walang inggitan. Right.
No,
Like,
no, no, no. And nobody would call like your wife, like, okay, your wife will not call your friends because that's not the way they do it. With us, Bags can call me like, hey, are you with
right.
Rod? Like, that's a
Automatic.
normal thing.
It's like
Automatic, like,
automatic.
oh
Yeah.
yeah. And we're wired to like, it's either we lie or we don't. Like, and like we already have that thing too. Like, oh, is this the time to lie or is this the time to cover? You know what I'm saying? So we
Yeah.
like we know how it works already. But with them,
Yeah.
that doesn't happen because that's not the way they do it. And they don't even go to their spouses like workplaces. They don't
Yeah.
even call their spouses workplaces. They don't even know their coworkers. So I mean,
Can I?
that's
Can I
like
move there? Can I, no,
dude,
no, no.
that's a
Not
sad
that.
thing, man.
Not
It's
that
a
my wife
sad
does.
thing.
Not that my wife does it. She doesn't do it. She's not
It's
like that.
really sad. It's really sad. Like, I would still love to. I mean, like when I was in the Philippines, like I know everybody. Like, like I
But
you
it's
meet a lot
sad
of
for
people
us.
every day.
It's sad for us, but it's probably not sad for them. It might. They might.
No,
You know.
no, not
Because
really.
here's the thing. They might be
And
very uncomfortable too if they were forced in a situation
they
that we're
are. I
in.
understand that. I
See.
understand that. So
So
that explains the mental issues that a lot of people go through here because they have nobody to talk to. Like, they don't want to talk about their problems.
on the
And with
upside, they're a lot more productive than we are. See, on the
yeah, but
upside, they have a
really?
lot more time for work than we do. I mean, see, that's the
Yeah, but
thing.
I
You
mean,
can't have
it's
both. You can't
yeah,
have
I know.
both.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. So I mean, balance wise, we have it. We have it good, balance wise, right? I mean, really, right? What's the use of having a really nice car when you're going crazy, right? What's the use of having really nice bonuses when you decide to jump off a building? Like, come on. Like, I
Yeah,
mean, I would like, all right, I'd rather drink beer with my friends. Like, even if I'm driving a Kia, that's fine. I'm
yeah.
like, they keep
I
me
mean,
sane and whatever. Like, you know what I'm saying?
heck, that's why people here can have 50 kids and not worry about. the expense of sending them to school because you don't have to send them to school. You know what I'm saying? It's like because of the standard that we've set. And I think, like I said, you can't really. It's a higher standard of living. Like they would even in relationships. I know, like in India, women are supposed to be married at a certain age. Like they're kind of pressured to do that, and if they're at a certain age and nobody's offering the marriage yet, it's I mean, like I said, different standards. We don't know how that came to be, why different people have different like turn-ons, why certain things work for certain cultures when we're all the same. We're all human. We all get sad. We all get happy. I mean, if you watch movies, a scary movie is a scary movie, whether it's in Japan or in the States. A love story is a love story, whether it's in Africa or in Brazil. I mean, it doesn't really matter. But why do we approach life and live life so differently? Like I said, like what you said in Japan, there's so many things that's like a taboo for them, and that's not allowed for them. And I think I don't know if they were conditioned or it's in their blood. And I think with Filipinos, I also don't know why we're naturally, I don't know, we're naturally happy. I think we are the happiest people in the world. I have to honestly say
We
that.
are. We are.
We are. We are. I've seen Thai people, they smile. I've seen, Indonesians and whatever, they smile. But I think Filipinos are the happiest people in the world. And
In
the
terms
irony
of
is we're
that
poor.
particular situation, like if we talk about that and the standard of happiness, I think we win in that area.
Is that why progress is slow here? Is that why we're
Probably.
not, because we're
Probably.
okay with that? Like for okay na tayo, masaya na tayo kahit lubak-lubak ang
Because
kalsada.
we're pushovers.
No,
You
I
know, like
think
we're pushovers.
no, we just have little things make us happy. And like for example, in the US or in the UK or in Rome or wherever in countries and cities where people can't live without proper progress. Like there has to be a system. It has to be this way. For them, they will die or they will suffer. It'll be a terror or horrific for them to be driving on unpaved roads or to be exposed to whatever conditions Mother Nature brings in. Filipinos, on the other hand, you can live in a baikubo. In a country that's the typhoon hit all the
That
time,
could
and
okay.
right, it's
That could
because
probably
it's because
that
okay
could probably
na.
be ignorance too. That could probably be ignorance too, because like the reason why we don't have that much progress is because um we
We don't
we
require
don't
it. We don't
know.
demand it. We don't
Yeah, yeah,
demand
we
it.
because we for the
Oh,
most part
because
we
most people
don't
haven't been
know.
exposed to do what's better.
Right, like oh we can actually
Kaya
we're
gusto mo
entitled to that.
kaya gusto mo bulag kasi hindi ka pa nakataim ng filet mignon, right?
Exactly, yeah.
You're like, but
And
if,
it's
if you
more of
try a
like
Kobe beef, then
and 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 the idea of like we um we don't know that we can make people accountable. That's one of the things. Like most people there would think like I mean that's the way it is. We can't make them accountable. I mean, yeah, they're there for like whatever. Like um these people are there having their positions for them to enrich themselves, and if they like if they shower us with some blessings, I mean we're lucky. that,
dang,
that that's how most
right?
people think, is
Look,
because that's partly ignorance on their part, and it's like oh it's fine because we use the word resilience because oh we're
yeah,
so
but
resilient.
at the
Like no,
same
we're a
time,
little bit ignorant.
but at the same time, most of the people who also have that mindset are non-taxpayers. They're not necessarily contributing to society either. I mean, yung mga pumipila para sa libreng bigas, yung mga nangatanggap ng whatever, four-piece, whatever, they're not necessarily taxpayers, dude. They're not necessarily contributing to
Yeah, but
the
then we already
development of the
had this
country.
we
So they
already
can't
had this
complain.
conversation. Like that's what taxes are for. Like I explained to you like the reason why. Like for example, like yeah, I told you right. Like if this person has less income and that person has bigger
He's
income,
gonna
like here
shoulder it.
it's a collective society.
Yeah, he's
Japan
gonna
is a
shoulder
collective
it.
society,
I get
so
it.
it doesn't matter. Like especially in Japan, like I know. I don't know how the West. I think, especially America, they
Well,
they
they
have that
complain.
sort of
They complain. Like they're
they
complaining
have that
now. That's why
mentality.
Trump won. That's why Trump won.
Yeah, just the reason why they don't have a solid national health care or a national insurance is because a lot of people are like, no, you get your own insurance. Why do I have to pay for you? They always say that. Here in Japan, it's like, no, everybody understands that. Like, no, I mean, yeah, it's fine. You have a bigger income. You pay bigger. You pay a larger amount. He has a lower income. He pays
Yeah,
a
but
smaller amount.
but
So
dude,
we kind of like
Japan
all get it.
Japan's economy is through the roof. They have way more than they need. I
Well,
mean,
so
like,
is America. So is America.
yeah,
But
but
they don't think that way.
no, because in America, dude, here's the thing. in America, it's not like the marginalized people are really marginalized. The marginalized people are usually alcoholics. They're bums. They're like they don't want to work. So of course you're not gonna want to support these people and encourage that lifestyle where they just get a food stamp and line up and get free food and groceries and whatnot. I mean, if it's the senior citizens, fine. If it's the disabled, go. If it's the veterans, why not? But if it's like bums, people who just don't want to work and that's the thing. It's
But I
that
think they're
that's
all
that's the
bums. I mean,
difference.
there might be some bums, but I think
Unlike
all of them are
here,
bums.
no, but most of the people in the states do. They're unemployed or they're on the streets not because there's no opportunity. It's because they either refuse or they smuggled, they did drugs, they did something, they ruined their own lives, and that's like it actually is a choice, and yet they're still provided for. Whereas, like say in the Philippines, if somebody's poor here, he literally has nothing. It's not like he gambled it all away. Like he literally was born into poverty. Like he's nothing. So I understand how, that they would need that part of the income that the country generates. But like in the States, I would also understand because I had this argument with my sisters, because of the fact that like why would they be shouldering, you know, the benefits of those who opt not to be productive, because I think it's easy to say that when you're not in the position of those who are actually employed. But when you are in the US, UK, or Australia, or wherever, and you're working. It's work. They feel that. They sacrifice their time with family. They come home, they're tired. So they're fine with the taxes because, we get all these benefits. And then you hear of all these people who are like opting to be homeless or ruin their lives and their families, and all of a sudden they have all these benefits awaiting them. I don't know. I mean, it's that's a tough discussion, man. I mean, you can't really there's no exact right answer to that because everybody will have their sentiments regarding the issue. But like I said, in the Philippines, it's different. I mean, we when we get taxed, I don't even quite like when you buy stuff, you get taxed already. I mean, I don't even think about what I'm gonna get out of this. It's more of like you're just happy you're employed. You know, that's the thing. That's just how bad it is. You're just happy you're employed. You don't care how much they're taking off from your employment. I mean, think about how much like how much they get from your, let's say, SSS or Field Health or whatever, and how much you're actually gonna end up getting when you retire. You're not even gonna be able to buy your maintenance meds. It's not like in the States where when you get retirement money, like Murray, my mom's late boyfriend. You met him. He was in the Navy. He was in service for a while, and when he decided to retire, dude, he was the money that he was getting. He could afford property. He could afford to go on vacations. He could afford. I mean, he didn't have to work anymore. He was getting enough for his pension. How much are people getting here? Really? Like,
Well,
I
I
mean,
think it should depend on your contribution, right? I mean, everywhere it's the same. Like you get how much you contributed. I think
exactly.
that's
So
how
we
it
can't
is.
really contribute much because we don't really earn much. And at the same time, there's really not a lot of. It's not like you. It's not like our country is generating billions. Like in terms of, I mean, just look at it. You can tell. Like you go to Hong Kong, you can tell. You can tell that the city's freaking wired to make money. Everybody there's wired to make money. Nobody has time there to slack off. Japan probably the same way. See people in suits walking the streets. See people where someone always has like a business deal going on. Somebody's always, you know, closing a deal. Here in the Philippines, like what the heck are people doing? Like how many people you go to Makati? That's probably the only place you'll actually see people who actually look like they're really doing something about money or having like a serious involvement in a business deal or an investment. Anywhere else, you don't see that. I mean, and you're not even sure. They might just be call center agents who are dressed up. I mean, we don't really know. Or they could just be guys selling cologne at Joe Malone dressed up. So I think that's kind of the
Okay.
difference. Go ahead, read that.
Okay. All right. In the Philippines, I can feel that most tax people are the middle class, and yet they have the least benefits like free education, free housing, ayuda, etc. It's always the lower classes that get it more. No, no, hang on, Patrick. Here's the thing. No, you can if you want to. The middle class, we have free education, but we do not send our kids there because we feel that the government is not providing, you know, a good option, right? So we have free education, but then when you send your kids to public school, they don't get the exact, like support that's supposed to be coming from the government. Like for example, in my case, like my daughter goes to public school here. They get all the books, they get new books, they get all the things that they that they should get from a public school. But there in the Philippines, we don't even have enough chairs. We don't even have enough benches. Like teachers are so stretched out, and like we lack teachers too. So I mean that's the whole point. Like even national healthcare, we have national healthcare, but the problem with our national healthcare is we don't have funds. So it's free hospital. They will take care of you, but we don't have enough doctors. We don't have
But
enough
you know
nurses.
why we never have enough? Because we have too much of those in need. Other countries don't have as many. Like for
Okay.
example, if a country doesn't have the poverty level, but majority of their citizens are not below poverty level. Most of these people can fend for themselves. So these hospitals for charity and whatnot, they're
Yeah, yeah.
barely
Well,
used. They're
that could
going to be
be
in shape because
that
not very. But
that could
here,
be
you give libre pamahayan education. Bazillion people will walk in
dude.
there and live. We just can't afford to.
That could be one factor. That could be
You
one
know,
factor. I wouldn't say that that
it'll never
is
be enough.
because
It'll
why
never be enough.
that there's so many factors. I mean, the corruption in our country that plays a big part. I mean, these people who I mean, these money. We are one of the countries with high taxes, and all of these that we don't know where these taxes go. Right? I mean, it's like every time like you see all these issues, like oh, where have all these money? Like where did this all go? Like even for, like case in point, there was this big like debacle about where did the COVID funds went? Like how much money was spent on these useless whatever, and they're not even made accountable. I mean,
Well,
if these things is happening under our noses, so that means there's like so many other things that are happening right now, like buying these, overpriced whatever. That's a big factor there.
well,
Like
here's the
these
thing.
money can be used for other
I
things.
know, but at the same time, dude, at the end of the day, it's going to be the mindset of the people. Whether it's the people who are in position or the people who are suffering the consequences of their actions, it's still the mindset of the people. It's still a Filipino doing it to a Filipino. Like you can't really say, "Oh, we're being
Yeah, because
abused by poor."
nobody's
It's still a Filipino thing.
exactly
It happens.
because of
Well,
ignorance. Because no,
yeah,
I would have to say no one's being made accountable, and everybody suffers because of that. And
but that's
the people
but
who
that
suffer a lot are the ones at the bottom of the list, not the
but
middle
that's
class. The middle
but
class
that's
will fine.
but that's that can that be credited or not accredited, but can that be attributed to the fact that it's a Filipino standard? Then it's just how it is here. Because I mean, we talk about how we
Well,
do
it
parties, we
it will
talk
be
about
like
how we do. So that's how we
yeah.
do government, or that's how we do public
Well,
service. I
in
guess.
that
I
case,
mean, it's a
yeah,
Filipino thing.
but that's a different thing. Like party is it's that's personal. Like you're not using like other people's money or supposed to be like so
Okay,
that's a totally different conversation. But
let's say you
um
overhaul everybody. You overhaul everybody in government or in position, or everybody, like everybody, even from
that could be a
you
start. I'm
overhaul
not saying that
every
would be the
overall.
solution. That
Do
can be the start.
you think that the Filipino that those who are going to take over and run things
Oh, I don't
anew
know.
and whatever?
We might have a
Well,
chance if
it's
we
not.
have the right people in
It's
there.
not. You know why?
We might
Because
have a chance.
they're still Filipinos. Their mindset's still gonna be the same. They're still gonna fall for that trap. There's
Well, if
you
we're
know
gonna
why? Because when you're poor, you want to have a good life, and when you have an opportunity to have a good life, you take it. And I think
see,
that's
that's
the
my
thing,
point. So if we think that way, then there's no way that we're gonna get anywhere. Because
dude.
if
That's
we're already
how we.
thinking that way,
That's
we're
why
already thinking
you're
like, no, there's no
That's
hope,
that's why Filipinos
right?
go overseas. They want a better life. Like I said, that's why
So what's the point
Filipinos.
of educating our kids if that's the case? I mean, why do we have to educate them? Why do you have to teach them right manners and right conduct? Like
I
if
I mean
that's the case, let's not
I
teach
mean
them
that
character anymore.
dude,
Like, okay, right, it's fine.
dude
You can be friends with
te-
these
teaching a
corrupt people and
person
it's fine.
teaching a person is different from the person actually accepting that lesson. It's like you can teach me shit, and if I don't want to hear it, and I don't want to apply it. It doesn't. Well, you can teach me
That's
karate, and I don't want it. I'm not gonna learn the moves. It's the same thing, and that's how
that's what I'm saying.
Filipinos are. We're
That's why you don't
stubborn.
stop.
Exactly. Don't
We
stop.
have to take every step. Like I mean, Japan wasn't Japan. I mean,
It's
they
how the
were
people. It's
feuding
how the people are. They're
back
embedded in
then,
honor. They
and
have the honor, the tradition. It's how the people are. They have that. It's in their system. The Chinese with their business, the way they run it, that's just it's in their blood. They've been doing that. So whatever crap it is that we're in, it's also something that we've been doing. I mean, it can't be attributed
we
to
weren't
one
always
person.
poor. You know that we weren't always poor.
Well,
I'm pretty
you
sure
know,
you know that we were number two. Like right before then, we were number two. That Japan was number one. We were number two. We were right behind
well,
Japan, and it was like 1:1. The dollar was 1:1, and
well,
and back and at that time, it was us running, like ourselves. It wasn't the, yeah,
Oh,
it wasn't the Americans who were
I
running
would,
us.
I
That
would,
that was
I
them.
will
We
agree with
were
that
we were there. We were like
because there,
1-to-1. We
because,
we were able to do it, but something happened along the way, and
yeah,
it
you know
can
what
get really
happened?
political if we
You
get
know what?
there.
You know what happened? A lot more Filipinos were born. It's just a lot more
Not a
Filipinos
thing.
who were not contributing to society were born. A lot of Filipinos.
Somebody sat there for 20 years,
Okay,
didn't didn't
okay.
didn't
I'll tell you this. I'll
went
tell you
down.
this. Okay, I'll tell you this. You have a giant platter, right? You have three kids who will eat off that giant platter. They're gonna have more than the food that they need. They're gonna have leftovers, right? You have one little kalan, and you have 10 kids trying to eat off that kalan.
Well,
You
yeah,
think
but I mean
you think
that's
somebody's not gonna try to hide some of the rice that's in that kalan because he knows
yeah,
it's all
but
gonna
we weren't
drain?
we weren't in that situation. We were in a situation where everybody was prosperous. That was the case. And something happened. Somebody sat there for 20 years, then just like closed
Well, I don't want
everything,
I don't want I don't want this to be a
right?
political
Because that's
conversation
what
because
that's yeah, I
I don't
mean,
want this to be a political conversation because, like I said, I
yeah,
think we
it,
have to
it
take
can get political.
we have to
That's
take
what I'm saying.
accountability. We have to take accountability as well for our actions. I mean, you can't. You know what I'm saying? You still have to take accountability for that. You still have to take accountability for the fact that
I mean, all
if a
right. So
Filipino is
okay.
in a miserable state
All
right
right, all right.
now, he's not in a miserable state because of
Okay, okay.
something that
I
somebody
get
did
what you
years
mean,
ago.
but it's
He's
more of
miserable
like
because he's
I
freaking
can't be
lazy.
accountable. I can't be accountable if okay, all right, okay. I'm at the bottom of the food chain, right? You can't make me accountable if somebody who's not remotely like related to me started using all these things, like
Yeah.
even
Yeah,
like
but you're
the
you're accountable
right.
for why you're in the bottom of the food chain, though, right? You're
No, I
accountable for
mean,
that. Come on, right?
okay,
Okay, I'm at the bottom of the food chain. You owe me now. Like what? Let's all be. See, that's the mindset we're
no,
trying to
it's not.
discourage here. Don't be at the bottom of the food chain, so you don't have to depend on other
Nobody
people.
was at the bottom. Okay, okay, here's the thing. That's what I'm saying. Like if somebody starts stealing stuff and like just hogging stuff, there will be an effect. It's not like the effect would be, I mean,
Well,
you will feel the effect eventually.
at
If
the end of the
somebody's like,
day,
all right, I'm gonna
at the end
spend
of the
all
day,
this money.
who decided on who should be seated where? It's still the people. It's still democracy. That's who the people
So
chose.
you're gonna
So
blame
blame
okay,
us.
you're gonna
Blame the voters. Blame the
you're
people.
gonna
Come
blame
on,
the voters for this. Well, this guy promised them stuff. He said,
dude.
like, I'm gonna give you what you need. And then all of
Dude,
a sudden
I'm not like I said. I'm not gonna make this a political
he
argument because
backtracked it. That's what I'm
I'm really
saying.
not. I didn't. I'm not
Yeah, that's what I'm
privy
saying. So that's
to
what
everything. So I'm just saying. All I'm saying is
is
whoever's at
it's
fault. Whoever's at fault. Okay, let's give it that somebody did something. Okay, whatever. Let's
right
put the
because it's
blame
kind of
game.
unfair. Like, okay, for example, all right, okay,
But if
let's not go to the
somebody's
Philippines.
accountable,
Let's
okay,
talk
let's say we
about
hold somebody accountable. Does that improve your life? Knowing
well,
that does that does
that would
it?
make an example that people cannot do that anymore. That you just can't
Dude,
do things and
dude,
get away with it, right?
history
If you
repeats
don't make
itself.
people
It's
not
not
every
about.
so,
It's not
I
even
don't
about
believe
one
that.
person. How many times have people
If people
voted
keeps
for the
on
wrong
getting
people?
away, yeah, no, I mean because they always get away with it. That's the reason why. That why
Right.
is it not happening in Japan? Because you can't get away with it.
That's what
Once
I
you do
told you, dude.
something
That's what I've been
right, because
saying.
they
It's
don't
a
get away with it.
Filipino thing. It's a
Well,
Filipino
that's
thing.
what
We
I'm.
we we
Yeah,
we
but
live we live in the house that we built. You know what I'm saying? You live in the house that we built. We built that
yeah,
house.
but
If
you
it
can't.
crumbles,
Well,
it's our fault,
yeah,
right?
yeah, but
We live in the house. The
that's where we
Japanese live
keep
in the house
on.
that they
We
built.
we
And
move on, and
it's
we need to grow.
dude,
Okay. Let's
it's
go.
prodigal poverty.
Let's flip it.
I mean,
Let's flip it. All right. Like in Japan, um, like for example, what happened to me? Like my daughter was born premature. Like we've been okay, not me. There's this cousin. My wife has a cousin, and her husband had like a sort of a heart problem, right? And yeah, they work, but they're like they're immigrants, and what kind of jobs do they have? Like factory work, right? So they
mhm.
have like what 2 3 kids, and they can't afford that. Like that sort of particular operation that they needed, they couldn't afford that. They went to the hospital, like, oh, you have this, whatever. And they were like, all right. And they look at the income. Oh, all right. So you qualify as somebody who can't afford this, right? So, all right, don't worry about it. We'll just have you sign papers and whatever. And all right, we'll give you the operation. And they were like, all right, okay, there's this new health, whatever. This hasn't been done in our prefecture, but it has been done, I guess, somewhere. So they're like, all right, we'll do it, and it's free of charge, and we'll So he got that operation, and he was supported. Besides the free operation, the government gave him welfare, like, enough, because the wife can't just work by herself, and they have kids and stuff. So he got some money up until, to that point where he could start working, right? So it's more of like, um that's the thing. Like, if you have that sort of support, then a lot of people wouldn't really go down in debt and would really find themselves
Yeah, but that's like that's,
irredeemable,
that's like
right?
60 or
But
70
if
per 70% of the population availing of that, man. I mean, that's that thing will be like sucked dry and like, I mean, dude, come on. You know what I'm saying? It's like if it's it's if you offer free food on the streets of France or wherever, you'd be lucky if your supply runs out that day. If you offer free food in like Ethiopia or wherever, dude, you wouldn't even be able to get out of your truck, right? They're gonna just jump into you. I mean, I'm not justifying anything. I'm just saying at the end of the day, we are in a situation that we are in. It's the mindset. I really think it's the mindset, because no amount of finger pointing, no amount of history, whatever, no amount of whatever is it's the mindset. How do you change the mindset? Well, you want to educate the people. How do you educate the people? Well, you don't have to educate them necessarily in terms of like schooling and stuff, but it's just like I said, I've had this discussion with Judge with Attorney T before, and I was like, you know, if most of the voters are if uneducated, or if education or a certain level of whatever is not required to select a leader, right? How are we gonna change things? It's always the voting is always going to be popularity. The voting is always going to be. It's not going to be about performance. It's not going to be about honesty, integrity, because it's always going to be about popularity. How do you become popular? Well, if you're wealthy, you can buy popularity, right? And in a country where the people vote based on popularity, because that's their only basis for knowing a candidate. Because, dude, you talk to
Oh
a
yeah, you're
random,
right. You're
right?
correct. You're
So
correct.
so,
I
so we're
don't
gonna
disagree with that.
so things
So
are
we
gonna
need to
keep
educate the people.
going in cycles and cycles
We
and
need to
cycles.
fight that. That's what my point is that we can't just accept that. Like, oh, that's the way it is. We need to fight that. We need, like, for example,
But
with all the
I mean,
points that you have
who's
said, you
we?
guys think education is a key to get out of the situation, be progressive. Yes, I do believe so.
Um,
Education is the key. I
you
would I
know,
would have to say yes.
I think, okay. Here's the thing, Patrick. I think for like us people, like maybe middle class, middle income, or a little bit arang-arangan. I think, yeah, that's you can easily say that, and like you can just easily you have this mindset that anybody can be educated, anybody can be, spoon fed knowledge and intellect. I don't agree with that. I have friends who are engineering graduates and are actually engineers, and he has a brother, and he actually told me that sana hindi na lang pinaaral ng parents niya yung brother niya, that sayang lang yung pera. It's not because he's stupid, but because his strength lies elsewhere. Like he said that about his own brother. He's an engineering graduate, and he said that his brother went to school, was failing, was the parents kept paying the tuition, he went up to this, college level or wherever, and he just, and so yeah, that's you're giving the person education, but are they is it a good investment to educate somebody who might not be, you know I'm not saying he's not intelligent, he might be, but like maybe street smart intelligent, maybe athletic kind of gifted, maybe we don't know. So for people like us, most of the people we know we went to school with, nobody was really dumb as hell, because we didn't really go to school with children of farmers and people who grew up in the Basakan and people who have never seen a television or don't know how to speak a word of English. We've all we've all gone to school with people who are pretty much in the middle class family. But if you bring out the people from the nooks and crannies of the Philippines who have no knowledge of any form of whatever formal education, how are you going to tell yourself that that's the ticket? Even if you bring all of them to a makeshift school and try to teach them this and that, up to what level are they going to get to in terms of maybe read and write? That's probably your only goal. Is that really going to change their mindset in terms of choosing a leader? Is it really going to change their mindset in
I mean,
terms of
imagine if you
how?
don't have education. What I mean, mindset comes from, like, I think, it it's basic education. Like, mindset stems from there. I don't think you can have
It's a
that
lot of
mindset
things.
like
It's
from
a lot of things.
all
It
right.
can be from
It's
the
not
heart.
like you're born with it and that's it. That's your mindset. I mean, you get educated, you learn all these things from whatever books, people, I mean, it's all those things. And we can have different views and shit, but then I mean that's the beauty of democracy. I think that's what Judge told you. Like, well, that won't be democracy if we, if we don't
Yeah,
let these people
exactly. Like
vote
if you
because we're a
filter
direct
out
democracy.
if you filter because that's their like God that's like your God given right as a Filipino is to be able to vote at least that's the only thing
Right.
that can
So
do because what it's designed as is kind of like how the Constitution is. It's designed to make sure that the people who end up as leaders were chosen by the lay people. Like what benefits the majority of the class of the country. So if you if that's the case, then we should just be voting the poorest freaking candidate, right? We should be voting like a public school teacher or something. We should be voting like a, you know, barangay captain or something. I mean, why are we voting celebrities? Why are we voting elite people? I mean, see, that's the thing. It's like it doesn't work.
yeah,
It
people
doesn't
should
work.
know that we shouldn't be doing that. We should tell them that they shouldn't
It's
be doing that.
that's easy to say, but once you're offered a sack of
I
rice
know it
and
is
200 pesos
frustrating.
and a
It
net,
is frustrating,
that's what I'm
but that
saying.
doesn't mean you give up, dude. You live there. What are you talking? Like you're the one who's living there, and you're giving up on your
Exactly.
people, man.
No, I have not given up. I haven't given up at all. I mean, what's there to give up? I'm not even like what's there to give up? I'm
I mean,
living.
you're
I'm,
you're
I'm
you're
dealing with it. I'm
well, yeah,
dealing with
you're
it.
dealing with
I'm
it, but I
surviving.
mean, you have kids, you will have grandkids in the future. I mean, these will affect your kids. These things,
Well,
all these things that we're talking about right now. Me, I'm like,
hey,
I can say like, I only have my sister and my mom, and I mean, my brothers,
hey,
and I mean, they're not really directly affected. I mean, I'm not directly affected. I'm indirectly affected because but in a way,
every kingdom has its plague. The states are having gun issues. Is every kingdom has its plague. I'm just glad we're not at war. I'm just glad we don't have winter here. There's so many things that I'm glad for that has allowed Filipinos to survive in spite of. But you know what? Hey, like I said, instead of going backwards and trying to see if we can improve our situation by figuring out what the hell happened back then, why don't we look forward and see where we can, where we can take it from here? Because I think that's the only thing. That's really it's either you stay or you leave. Because I'm not really in a position to do anything about what am I supposed to do? Like go rally somewhere and whatever, speak my mind and whatnot. I mean, I don't even know enough to actually put blame on people. I
well,
mean,
you
I'm
don't
not
have
gonna.
to do that if you don't want to do that. I mean, those people who
Oh,
wanted to do that, like they could
well,
do that, but if you don't want to do that, that's fine too.
yeah, but it's just at the end of the day, I think we all want what's best for the Philippines, regardless of what we think. I mean, maybe some people lost their way or strayed from their supposed path. I really don't know, but all I can say is that situation, that mindset, that system, that just doesn't happen at the top tier level of government or whatever. It happens in the offices. I mean, I see that same shit happening in places I've worked at that level. So I know for a fact that it's the mindset. I know for a fact that it's a mindset. There's a secretary who hoards all the prizes. There's a manager who's not transparent about the earnings of people. It's the mindset. And the like I said, what am I gonna do? How am I gonna change it? It's just like a Filipino serving lechon at a party. That's just basically how it's embedded in us. It's sad to say, but not only good things are embedded in us, and we only see that when you go out of the country and you see that other people actually don't think this way. Like, why why do the Westerners think that their buildings have to look this way and that they're able to construct it that way? What was it? I mean, if a Filipino wanted to construct a building or structure, he'd probably be like try to make it as cheap and whatever as possible. Now, why is that? Now, what is it? What is it about it? Is it? I've spoken to also one of my
Because
mom's
if they
ex
get
boyfriends.
caught, they go to jail. That's what
No,
happens to them.
no, it's not. It's they take pride in
That's
their
real.
work. They have a high standard. They take pride in their work. I
Even if they
mean,
want to steal it, like if they want to steal the funds, they can't because they're gonna get investigated and they're gonna go to jail for that. Whereas
yeah,
in our country, they can get away with it.
dude. Here's the thing. I don't even think they're thinking that. because they live good lives. They can afford their meals. They don't have to steal to survive, dude. These politicians in Western countries, they're not broke ass thinking about stealing from the government. Dude, they live in decent houses. They have an most of the people there live decent lives. They're not patay gutom. But if you were in a country where, heck,
And so
I don't want to.
and so are politicians. And so are politicians. They're not Batay They're like the rich ones.
Exactly, exactly. But they live in an environment like ours. They live in a country like ours too, so they see the poverty. They see that scary side, of what can happen to you. Whereas in the states, I don't think they're thinking that. Like the senators there, the whatever there, it's not like a sudden change in lifestyle just because they became senators or whatever congressmen in the states. No, I barely even know our congressmen and senators when I was there. I barely even knew who they were. They're like regular people. They're just treated as like a teacher or like uh, you know, they were never looked up as someone who's, in a great position, almost like royalty, as some of the, people in government in certain Asian countries are looked up to because of the difference in the standings in society, the rich and the poor, the famous and the non-famous, the regular and the elite. There's that always exists in countries like ours. That doesn't really exist in Japan. That doesn't really exist in a lot of the Western countries. You will be frowned upon if you behave as such. You know, I mean, your kids will be embarrassed if they were driven to school with like 10 limousines and a driver and a bodyguard. Your kids will be embarrassed. Here in the Philippines, are you kidding me? All his friends would want to ride with him, right? It's the mindset. Whereas in the states, you would be frowned upon. You would be embarrassed if I'm gonna have you sent to school with your bodyguard and a fleet of 10 black cars and pick this. No, Dad, it's embarrassing. I just want to ride the bus with my friends. But in the Philippines, you kidding me? Right? Are you gonna
So you
turn that
don't
down? Mindset. It's mindset, dude. That's your mindset. You're gonna do stupid things. You're gonna steal money from. You're not basically not supposed to steal from. It's the ambisyoso nga, sabi ko na sa'yo, I told you. Diba? Walang naipon pero naka-DMs. It's the same thing, right? Paano ka makakuha ng pan-DMs mo? Where are you gonna get it? From your dad's wallet, right? I mean, you're sure still not gonna get it from your
as long
savings
as it's
account
not your
because
neighbor's
you
wallet,
have
I think
none.
that's fine.
At the end of the day, it's at the end of the day, right? See, it's the
It's not your
mindset.
neighbor's wallet. It's your dad's wallet, though.
It's the mindset.
Right?
But at the end, okay. Well, I think we just have to be humble. I think that's the bottom line. I think that's humility is a trait that a lot of Filipinos should learn
All right.
to analyze.
Alain, studying in a private
Yes,
school in America is
exactly,
frowned upon.
exactly. It
Well,
is.
yeah.
It is. It's
Well,
embarrassing.
yeah, but I mean, private schools too are expensive in America, so
And
that can be a factor as well.
they're not really glorified as a luxury thing. Like I said, because everybody there lives decent life. They all can eat their bread. They all can buy their milk. They all can watch cable. They all have internet. In the Philippines, it's not. We're not eating the same food with our neighbors. We're not watching the same shows on the same TVs as our neighbors. We have different neighborhoods. In the states, it's like they're all the same. Germans have the mindset every problem has solution. That is why every problem of life, food, shelter, education, healthcare, they have infrastructure. Pinoys, when confronted with these, they just accept the situation, not complain, not assertive, deal with life's hardships by being happy with other people.
All right,
Well,
so
well,
Prince, how should we go about it then? Right? Because I mean, you have a point. Germans have the mindset every problem has solutions. All right, that's true, and that's why every problem of life, when it comes to food, shelter, education, healthcare, etc., they have infrastructure and whatever, right? And then you're right when you said that Pinoys, when confronted with these, they just accept their situation. Like we do accept our situation. We don't complain. We don't assert. Uh, you know, we deal with our hardship by just being with people that we love, that make us happy. So how do we go about it then? Like, how do you think we should go about it? Because I mean, we just can't say like, oh, that's the mindset and that's it, that's the end of it. I mean, my question is, I don't have a problem, like, yeah, I mean, okay, there you go, the mindset's there. So what do we do about it? That's my question. Should we
well
just like
we,
leave it at that?
we have the mindset, try to have the mindset of Germans.
Right, exactly. So how can we achieve that when we just like, no, I mean, there's no solution because that's the way it is. Because we would revert back to that. I
Well,
mean,
you know
Germans
what?
would be like, if we have a problem, then there's a
And
solution. But then if we
newsflash.
go back to the mindset of like, no, I
Well,
mean that's the way
newsflash.
it is. We can't change it,
Well,
right?
newsflash. I think it's safe to say that Germany is a lot more capable of solving more problems than the Philippines
Exactly. So
would
that's what.
be,
So
right?
here's the
So I'm
thing:
not exactly like,
sports
hey, oh,
fans,
let's just build
sports,
bridges. Nah, we don't
sports,
have that.
exactly. All right, okay. Sports
Wrong
fans,
answer.
bad news. That's what I'm saying. Don't blame the coach, right? We just suck. That's just the way it is. I mean, right? We just suck. Why blame Chot Reyes for that? I mean, we suck big time at basketball,
Dude,
right?
I mean,
Who do you think? Who do you think? No, no, I'm saying this is
no, no,
true.
no, you take it, take it, take it.
All
I
right.
get what you're
I
saying.
mean,
I
who
get
do
what
you
you're
think
saying.
you are? Have we won FIBA before? Have we won a championship? Right? Do we have NBA players? Do we have NBA players from the Philippines? We don't. So stop getting mad because we didn't qualify for FIBA. Let's not blame Chot Reyes for that. Because newsflash, we don't have the talent, man.
Suck.
We do not
We
have the
suck.
talent,
We don't have the
right?
mindset.
We don't have the, not really. I mean, no, not the
We don't have
mindset.
the
We just lack
Mamba
talent.
mentality. We just don't have the
Yeah,
Mamba mentality.
we suck.
We
I mean, this is
we
true. I'm not kidding.
we have we have
I
the we have the what's that guy
I
with the
feel
number one?
strong.
Scott, we have the Scotty Thompson mentality.
No, I mean, I'm serious about this. All right, like, yes, we won FIBA Asia, like five, dude. FIBA Asia, I know. When was that? Like 5 times? Like what? I mean, really, that's how far we got,
We
right?
don't have the
And it's
infrastructure. We don't have the infrastructure for basketball. Elaine said, we don't have
that's a good
yeah, you're
point,
right.
Alan. That's a
You're
good
right. I
point,
mean,
right?
I'm just
Who do
saying,
we have? Who do we
don't
have? Come on,
stress over
tell
that
me.
shit, people. Come on.
Right?
Right?
I mean, because I read all these things on the internet, and they're still blaming Chat Reyes for like what happened. But I'm like saying, like, what did we accomplish as a nation in terms of basketball? Like, what have we, dude? I mean, even with our Centennial team, and I
You know?
thought that we were really strong. You remember that Centennial team, the
Yeah,
PBA
yeah,
Centennial team, Alvin
yeah,
Patrimonio, all of those great guys
yeah,
that like we love. Dude, we
yeah,
got hammered by China, and I thought we could beat China. And this is just China we're talking
yeah,
about,
yeah,
right? We're talking about the world here.
yeah.
Dude,
That's. I
what
mean,
made you think that we could actually qualify for the FIBA finals? Okay,
it was.
FIBA Asia, right? So what like did we ever qualify for like okay, I don't understand FIBA. Like we have tournaments and shit, right? So with FIBA, what's the biggest tournament? Because there's like Southeast
FIBA,
Asia qualifying,
the
whatever.
world.
Like okay, World FIBA Cup,
Yeah, it's
World
the
Cup,
World Cup. Yeah, yeah.
FIBA World Cup. Is it
That's the
FIBA
one
World Cup?
where like the winners of the Asia will fight the so it's like they're all like there's an Africa,
So
not
have we
Africa, South America.
have we represented Asia before?
No, I think we were close. I think we got close, but I don't think we did. I
So
don't
who
think
represented Asia
I
in the
don't think we ever
FIBA
got
like
close to
basketball?
like playing like the Philippines. Not Philippines, the US. I think we fought like Iran or something. Like I know we played against
Right.
like
See?
one of those big teams and we lost to that team. Yeah, I think it was
Exactly. That's what
Iran.
I'm
I think it was
saying.
Iran.
So we never represented FIBA Asia in like the FIBA World Cup, whatever. We never did that,
Uh
right? Ever?
that, you should ask Patrick because he knows
All
more
right,
about that
Patrick.
stuff.
Oh, I don't know anything about this. So have we ever represented Asia in the international competition, like the FIBA World
I
Cup,
mean,
whatever, like
for those
playing
complaining
against
about
US
Coach Chat
or
Reyes
whatever?
and stuff, I mean, bayaran nyo muna utang nyo. Alright? Ang dami nyo pinoproblema. Hindi nyo pa
Because I'm just
nababayaran
like
kuryente. Alright? Bayaran
I'm
nyo
like,
muna yung kuryente
holy
nyo at
shit.
kasuhin
I'm
nyo
like,
muna yung mga...
okay, the highest place we had in FIBA World Cup is third place, but that was in 1954.
Who the heck,
You know what?
who the heck was playing in that team? I mean, did we
I
even know
think we had the
basketball
best
then?
players, dude. I think we did we ever win? Okay, I think we won silver medal. Hang on. Olympic basketball Philippines. Let's see. Okay, we did win.
Aloy Loizaga.
Hang on. All right, so Olympic Games, Philippine men's national team, 1960, 1963, 1967, 1973, 1985, right? So we had gold in basketball. This was what? 60, 63, 67, 73, 85, right? So see, we were good even without those like halves. You know what I'm saying? Like these
Mhm.
people who are from different countries. I think they were solid like Filipino players, right? So now that the league has changed and we rely or we depend on these mestizos, I mean, come on, right? I mean, maybe we're not that good yet. I mean, if we achieve all of these things before, and
Mhm.
regardless of who the coach was, I think we would have won, right?
Yeah.
So that's just what I'm saying. I mean, lately it's been like, but okay, I'm because I'm fairly young. I mean, I'm not that young. I'm old, but I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like compared to like, I didn't watch those players who played in the 1960s, who won the gold medal.
I, I,
I don't know
I
them.
think I think Mao did.
Kaloy Loisaga, I know him because of his two sons,
I only
right?
know Bing Loy
Uh,
Saga.
really? Is being
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
um
Bing the daughter.
sister of Joey and Chito,
Yeah.
right? Joey
Yes.
and Chito. All right, so Joey Loisaga and Chito Loisaga. I know those two, and they were decent basketball players. But that's just what I'm saying. Like right now, maybe we just don't have the talent to qualify, right? So
Yeah.
let's just
Yeah.
wait. Let's just wait. I mean, if we
And,
finally win a FIBA Asia and represent like Asia, like if we can beat China, then maybe that's the time we can just like
yeah, and hopefully all the problems of those complaining about Coach Shot Reyes will be solved. Their debts will be paid. Their, their
to
whatever.
be
I mean,
fair, it's a good topic to talk about. I mean, what do you want to talk about? Like you don't want to talk about your debts. You're gonna suffer more. You're gonna be stressed out more.
yeah,
You're
I
gonna
know,
have
I
a
know.
heart attack or
That's
something.
exactly why Filipinos are so busy on Facebook because we're not busy doing anything else productive. Just you can tell. That's just how we are. It's evens the playing field. It evens the playing field. We have all the time in the world to be on Facebook. We have all the time in the world to show. I mean, look at what people okay, look at what people post on Facebook, right? Vacation photos, what they had for lunch. They were working. It's all like it's like as if these people all live charmed lives. Like you're all billionaires or something. Like don't you all gotta be doing something? I mean, but then they're doing it while they're at work. And it's just but there's nothing wrong with that because, like I said, it's a mindset, and you just start to accept these things, and you can't criticize it because if you do, it doesn't work in this country. I mean, it just doesn't. What's weird here is the norm there. What's the norm there? What's weird there is the norm here. So, however it is, the good and the bad of it is usually like I said, we build our own home.
How
You know
about
that
food though? How about food?
it's I don't know. The thing with food is it's so inconsistent. I mean, I think there's inconsistency too in other countries. Like when you say spaghetti, like how many variations of spaghetti is there? If you ask an Italian, like yeah, maybe they'll have the simple one. But in the Philippines, you say adobo, everyone has their version, and I don't really know. Like I'll just pick the adobo that I like. But I know for a fact that if I go to a restaurant and order adobo, it's not going to be necessarily the adobo that I prefer, unless like everyone has their preferences. Just from adobo alone, maybe tinola. There's no other way to cook a chicken. I mean, it's just this. What are you gonna do? Ginger, chicken, nor cubes, but malunggay. That's it. But like dishes like adobo, maybe caldereta, all that stuff. There's a lot of variations depending on the region where it's from. It's
I
like
mean,
so
would you exchange that for mac and cheese?
the food that we eat.
Yeah, I mean, right? Like because the go to food
Well,
for most Americans,
that's
I think, is mac and cheese.
that's an unfair question because you're asking somebody who grown up with those dishes, and my palate has already been accustomed to that. But like, I have a niece who doesn't eat anything but mac and cheese, but her mom's Filipino and her dad is American, but he eats Filipino food, but her palate's just not accustomed to it. But
I would
she's
have to
still
agree
Filipino.
with Patrick. Our food is more flavorful than most other countries. That's what I miss about the Philippines. Me
It is.
too.
It is.
I would have to agree with that.
But that's why Chinese food is popular worldwide. That's where people get their fix. Like if they want their MSG, their sodium fix, they go to Chinese food. That's how Americans are. I mean, it's not Filipino food is new now, but since Chinese food is already there, it's hard for Filipino food to sort of penetrate that market because Americans are just used to bland food, salt and pepper. That's all they do, salt and pepper. And if they
All
want
right.
salty food, just
McDonald's in America and McDonald's in the Philippines, do they taste the same? Patrick, how
McDonald's.
about the McDonald's? Because the McDonald's here, the hamburger here, and the McDonald's
Well, they don't have
Philippines,
Burger
they
McDo
taste
there
the
for
same.
sure. They don't have Burger McDo for sure.
Like what in Australia?
In any other part of the world, the Burger McDo is like Philippine exclusive. The Burger
No,
McDo.
we have
This
a
Burger Mc,
hamburger here.
this Burger McDo is pork. No, no, no. But I know, but we have Burger McDo also, which is like the cheapest burger you can get at McDo, which is not the hamburger. There's a hamburger,
Oh,
there's
we
a
also have
cheeseburger.
we have a McPork here. So that's a cheaper version of the hamburger. So we
Yeah,
have
yeah.
McPork.
That's
So
probably the
we don't
Burger
call it
McDo
Burger
version.
McDo. We have like McPork.
Yeah.
And then we
Like in
have
the
the
States, they have the
hamburger.
McRib. They have the McRib. They have
But
the
they're still bland. So they like whatever it is that we have in McDonald's Philippines, it's the same here. So I don't really like McDonald's food, except like in the Philippines, I like their chicken.
the McDonald's burger is maasim. Like our ketchup is their ketchup is maasim. So when you eat the McDonald's burger, it has pickles for crying out loud. So it's gonna give you that like kind of like bland na maasim taste, which
Right?
is for some reason that's the American thing.
Because I'm more of
But
a regular yum guy or a cheese yum.
oh
Like
yeah,
I'm more of a Jollibee person
I'm telling
in
you,
terms of like. But with chicken, I'm not into
worlds
Chicken
apart.
Joy. I'm more into like McDonald's fried
Yeah, I like
chicken.
McDonald's chicken too. I like McDonald's
All
chicken
right,
too. Chicken
McDonald's
joy
fried chicken
is
and
a hit or miss.
rice. Chicken Joy
Chicken
is like
hit or miss. It's
like
kind of
people
oily,
like
a
prefer
little
Chicken
too
Joy. I'm
greasy.
not a Chicken Joy guy.
Yeah,
I'm a McDonald's.
I'm on
What
the
do you call
same
it?
boat with you. I'm in the same boat. Like
Right.
I like the breading of the chicken McDo more.
And
The
in terms
chicken
of
joy
French fries, I would go for McDonald's. I
McDo,
don't like
McDo of course,
Jollibee's
McDo.
French fries.
Yeah, Jollibee's
But
kind of soggy.
hamburger, oh man, I would go
But
for
if you get
Jollibee.
sponsorship, then Jollibee bida ang saya. I
I
mean,
know.
depends, right?
Apple
Hey,
pie
hey,
and
hey,
peach
hold on, hold
mango
on.
pie, peach mango pie.
I thought we were supposed to support the Philippines here. What are you colonial mentality now? What's going on
No,
here, huh?
dude, peach mango pie. What are you talking about? Like apple pie, dude. I mean, that sucks ass, man. I mean, peach mango pie. That's awesome. That's a pie. And I can't get
Yeah,
that here. We don't have peach mango pie
no.
here. We have like
And it's
I have
and,
to
it,
just,
and it's so
I
funny.
just have to
Like
eat an apple pie because
how,
I can't find peach mango pie.
I mean,
I
how
got to suck it up.
ambitioso can Filipinos be? Our local pie here is peach mango. Where do we grow peach here? Like what? We don't have Georgia grows peaches, but that's we have peach, huh? I mean, I understand the mango part, but
Probably
peach.
these are imported
Wow.
or canned peach.
I mean, isn't
We
that
do have canned
misleading?
peach.
Isn't that misleading if a foreigner comes here and starts ordering from the
Peach
McDonald's,
mango
from
pie,
and they
Pop and
go
Jolly.
from Jollibee peach mango?
Dude,
Oh, they have peaches here,
don't
huh?
we grow peaches
It
in
should be
Kalinan?
it should be Santol mango pie or like
Yeah, but what do you know? Maybe we grow
Lanzones
peaches
mango
in
pie.
Kalinan. Probably there's some like peach plantation in
Dude,
Kalinan. We don't know that.
I don't care where we're growing peaches. It's not gonna be enough to supply all the thousands of Jollibee stores nationwide. Come on, you kidding me? I mean, it's probably peach in a can. That's what it is. It's
All
peach
right,
in a can.
could be,
All right.
but
Anyways,
it's
all
still
right. So
better than an apple pie.
no, I like apple pie, man. I don't know. I like apple pie. I'm
Really?
just
You're
yes.
an
I like
apple
apple pie.
pie guy,
Yes, I like apple
Patrick?
pie.
Are you a peach mango pie or
I mean,
apple pie?
depends. I mean, maybe you've
I'm a
had
peach
bad apple
mango pie.
pie. I've had good apple pie, so
No,
I
I'm talking about like the apple pie from like the fast food
the
chain. Like
McDonald's.
yeah, I mean apple pie.
I
That's a different pie we're
I
talking about.
can't
Like
really compare.
just like
You know
apple
what?
pie and peach mango pie.
Okay, here's the
Not
thing.
not the pie from Jollibee and
Maybe
McDonald's.
the peach mango pie. Yeah, maybe I'll pick that over the apple pie because
All right,
mainly
okay.
because you consume a very small amount of it. But if you literally ordered a whole pie or peach mango pie, you will not be able to finish more than two slices, man. It's too sweet. It's too artificial. But apple pie is legit. Like you can eat a lot of that. It's just cinnamon and apples, and it's fresh, and you can eat a whole freaking whole piece of apple pie. But peach mango pie, try to eat the whole thing. Just that little thing alone gives you the sugar rush. It's too artificial. It's too sweet. It's not. It doesn't. You can eat a little bit of that, so it tastes good. But if they serve you a whole piece, it's apple pie. All right. Anyways, well,
Peach
we'll
mango
continue
pie
this.
all the way. We even make it
Okay.
here at home just to fix
All
the
right.
things.
So you
Really?
guys win
Do you have
2
a
to 1.
recipe? Do you have a recipe?
You even make it
Send
here.
me a recipe because I'm
Wow.
going to ask my wife to make it because
Peach
no
mango
way
pie.
we can get it here. At least you have like what? Do you have Jollibee Australia? Because there's no Jollibee in Japan. At least
There's
there's
no
one in
Jollibee in
Hong Kong.
Japan?
No Jollibee Japan. No,
With
no.
all the Filipinos living there?
Yeah, I know it, right?
Oh, I think
I don't
Japan
know
probably
why.
blocked it. It's probably like Japan's probably like,
Why would they block it? They have McDonald's here. Why would they block it?
dude, there's a Jollibee in Rome for crying out loud. In Italy, there's a Jollibee there. I
Yeah,
mean,
the
I think
recipe is
Italians
on
are
the internet.
more.
All right, I'll tell my wife about it. All right, okay. I don't know when we're gonna get our first Jollibee, but if that happens, I would surely visit it. I'm pretty sure it's gonna be in Tokyo, and if I'm in
And,
Tokyo,
and-
I would
and you see
surely
the line,
go
you see the
there.
line of Pinoys there, you'd be like backing out. You're like, yeah, maybe not.
Holy shit! Well, I hope most Filipinos think like me. I'm not gonna go there. Why would I go there? I'm already in Japan. I'll eat at Moe's Burger,
Are
right?
you
I
kidding
hope
me,
they think
dude?
that way.
Are
Then
you
I'm the only
kidding
one who's
me?
there.
People will make the pilgrimage trip there to go to Jollibee in Japan. Are you kidding me? You'll see people will go to
And I,
Japan just to
I,
go to Jollibee in Japan.
I avoid Filipinos like a plague, but if but if Jollibee opens in Tokyo, fuck that shit. I am going to camp out there. I'm gonna get my Jollibee fixed. All right. We also don't have Jollibee here as of now, but rumors are ripe that we will get one here in the near future. All right. Okay. All
Well,
right. So you're
I
in the
mean,
same boat
see,
as I am,
all I can say is nag-abroad pa kayo. That's all I can say. Okay, nag-abroad pa
dude.
kayo. Yun lang pa. Jollibee lang
Well,
pala kasi kalagayan. Dito lang kayo sa Pilipinas. Nag-abroad
you
pa
have
kayo.
no idea. You have no. I mean, well, yeah, but easy for you to say because you're there.
Yeah, but I mean,
But
what's the thing with Jollibee? It's not even Filipino. It's burgers. Those are American. That's American food. Fried chicken, burgers, spaghetti. That's not even Filipino food. What they serve caldereta there? Do they serve sisig?
it's
No.
Jollibee.
What are you doing,
That's
man? Come
culture.
on. That's
That's
American
culture.
food. We
That's
glorified
culture.
American food, right?
No, we
We
always
glorified
we
American food.
always we
It's
always
American food. It's
diss
not Pinoy. We can't claim that as our own.
McDonald's because they have a bland taste,
Even the
right?
name, Jollibee. That's more American than McDonald's for crying out loud. You could have named it like Mang One or something. Or Pepe and whatever, right? I mean, Jollibee. Like if I saw that restaurant and I'm not like Filipino, I would never
Dude,
think of it
you
as
know
a
what?
Filipino restaurant. I would
You
think of
should
it as
check
like,
out. Hang on. You know what? I would send you a link. Hang on. We can't show it here, but please watch it later. Hang on, I'm gonna find it. I'm not gonna.
go ahead,
Hang on. What's
send
his
me
name?
give me the link because we gotta go. The kids have exams. Uh,
John.
McDonald's Thailand majority of major items are spicy. Yeah, understandably. Yeah, same with their KFC, but their KFC is very good in Bangkok. It's so good. You see the little chili pieces. Foreigners love the chicken, man. The jolly chicken, man. Yeah. I think most of the foreigners that I've witnessed actually enjoying the Jollibee chicken are YouTubers. So they're like influencers, and I don't really know if they would really prefer Jollibee over like a local chicken joint, or they're just saying that to get Filipino subscribers because they know how how Filipinos tend to have a fascination for foreigners, doing anything Filipino related. We'll all click that, and they're guaranteed to get views for it. So I don't think they would be saying like, this chicken tastes nasty. But they say that. I think they say that on the YouTube videos, but I don't really see very many white people entering like
No,
Jollibees
this was
and
like a episode. This is an episode of John Oliver's last week tonight, and it was in passing that he mentioned Jollibee, and it was so funny. I don't know if this is the particular like episode, but check it out. And it was yeah, it made a lot of sense. But yeah, you should like I sent you the link. Like check it out
okay.
later. All right, Prime Minister of Canada lined up
That's
when he
Trudeau.
visited the
Is that
Philippines.
Trudeau?
Right? Oh,
Lined
that's
up when
Trudeau.
he
I
visited
guess
the
so.
visited the Philippines for his Jollibee chicken fix.
Jolly
You know,
Chicken, Chicken
of course he's get,
Joy. Are you talking
of
about
course
the Chicken Joy?
he's gonna do that. He's gonna try to get the sympathy and I mean, come on, that's politics, man. He's
All
trying
right.
to
So
turn me up to the
when are we,
Pinoys. But
when are
anyways,
we gonna
yeah.
be back?
So
Thursday.
yes, Thursday.
All right,
What are we gonna talk
Thursday.
about?
Um,
The
the topic.
opposite. I wanna make it like Battle of the Sexes again. I wanna piss off the women again.
All right. So all right. Cool.
Okay.
What do you want to talk about?
Unrealistic expectations. That's a good one. Unrealistic
Unrealistic
expectations.
expectations. All right.
Yes.
This goes both ways, right?
Women. Oh yeah, both ways, both ways, both ways.
All right.
Let's
Men
just
and
make it both
women.
ways. Yes.
All right. All
So
right.
make
Okay.
sure
Both
you
ways.
come up with a good
Again, because we're men. All right. We're gonna hammer the women. All right.
Okay, or who has more unrealistic expectations, the men and the women.
Man or woman. All right. That's a
Yeah,
better
right,
one.
right.
That's a better
'Cause,
one. All right. Okay.
we may think we want a super sexy girl all the time, and you might. So that's gonna be our
Okay.
Thursday thing.
All right. Say that again. Who has more unrealistic expectations, men or women?
Yes.
All right, okay. Let's stick with that. All right, so we're doing that on Thursday. That would be Thursday. Thanks a lot for joining us, Patrick. Yeah, you showed up. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
And hopefully we'll see you on Thursday. This has been the OK Show. Rod Rodriguez and Iceman, and we are out. Enjoy your night.